talking about protection, which can only be a good thing. A little bit about myself. So my role as the Deputy CEO of SCOR's life business for the UK and Irish market. I've been at SCOR about 15 years now. Recently, I'm just back from an 18-month secondment to our South Africa business in Johannesburg. So that went well. I survived. That was the main tick for me. But it's also interesting just to understand the market over there because particularly their approach to some of the wellness and well-being, wearable technology, they're quite advanced there. So that's been some interesting insights. I am an actuary by background, so don't hold that against me. I try and hide it as well as I can do, but you'll be the judge of that. My talk is about the future of protection, sort of key trends and a little bit of analysis on the market. I think it's fair to say that there's a huge amount going on globally in terms of protection and how it's sold, and we're seeing lots of things changing. But what I'd rather focus on is trying to think about the customer in a bit more detail, and I think that's where a lot of these developments are moving towards. They're trying to find new ways to, engage with the customer, but new ways of purchasing with them, trying to sort of access them either digitally, all these other interesting ways of getting to them. But I think the starting point is to try and understand what do our customers currently want, what do they believe, how do they want to buy insurance. So I think that's what I'd like to spend some time on. Okay, let's click over. So very quickly, for those that don't know, SCOR's the fourth largest reinsurer globally. We've got a very strong presence in the Irish market, and we reinsure the majority of the providers in the Irish market. So that's a bit about us. We've got a very good relationship with ClearChoice. So a part of our kind of strategy is to try and get us, to understand the distributors, understand the customers, understand the providers, the whole value chain, so we can add a little bit more value there. So that's a little bit behind it. The reason I've got this slide on here is there's a company within SCOR called GDS, which is Global Distribution Solutions. And one of the things that they do is they commission this consumer research on an annual basis. So that's kind of like the results that I want to show you, or touch some of the key messages anyway. So that's the reason there. A little bit about the research. So they interview 8,000 insurance customers globally across 14 key life markets. So you might be able to make out some of the markets up there. Those markets make up 85% of the global life insurance risk premium, and they also make up 80% of the world's GDP. So the idea is that they're pretty credible markets. For those of you that are quick, you'll realise that Ireland isn't actually on there, which is obviously a bit of a problem for us here. I mean, one of the things we're trying to work hard on is actually introduce Ireland into our survey, because it is a key market for us. You'll see Russia's on there, and they interview 500 people from Russia. I think we sold one policy in Russia last year, so that feels a bit of a waste of time. But what I've tried to do is I've pulled together some of the developed markets and tried to extrapolate some trends from that, which I do think will have some relevance for the market here. But I'll be really interested in your kind of take on some of those results as well, and whether you think we're talking nonsense, really. So I'm also conscious I'm a reinsurer, so I'm quite a step removed from the end customer. And I'm talking to you guys that actually know the customers day in, day out. So I appreciate, I might not get all of this right, but I am just going to present some of the findings. So please, if you disagree, then just shout and let's have a debate. So I just wanted to start off with, just a simple question. I mean, hopefully you've seen these word clouds before. You interview someone, you ask them to mention 2 or 3 questions, and then the size of the word indicates how often that word was mentioned. So the question that we asked here, what 1 or 2 words best describe what you think about life insurance companies? I'll just give you a minute to look at some of them, but I guess the overriding thing that's a bit concerning, isn't it? I mean, expensive, necessary, money-making. I mean, the fact that people think this way about insurance companies just shows what a good job the people in this room are doing selling anything. So, I mean, I think there's some issues here, certainly around trust. So customers don't seem to trust insurance companies, and there seems to be a real disconnect between what insurance companies are trying to do and what the end customer actually perceives that they are trying to do. So I'll try and dig into that in a little bit more detail. I mean, expensive is one that I'll come back to as well, and we're talking about it earlier. It is a very price-driven market, and a lot of developed markets are exactly the same there. But when we get this view that life insurance, particularly life only or term insurance, is too expensive, I just find that a difficult one, because you surely can afford some amount of term assurance because it is a remarkably cheap product nowadays. So trying to be a bit